I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, I've done it the wrong way around. I've drawn an arrow and I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his ass.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona...
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to another Ramble from the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. I'm Daniel Cody, and with me as usual is Craig Savage and Charlie Betts.
Thank you for joining us on Spotify, our new platform that we've now released, and also on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And on Twitter, you can follow us at Honest Football Free. How's your week been?
It's been interesting, and I believe that myself and Charlie have both had issues with kitchen appliances, Craig, which I'm really looking forward to.
White goods, I believe, is the correct
I'll let Charlie start.
Are you sure? Mine's a very short story. It's more embarrassing, to be honest. So
I do have an appliance, actually. I will talk about my appliance.
Okay.
I hope you have some appliances. Whether you got a story about them.
I don't know.
So last night I cooked tea. I made a jambalaya for those of you interested.
Lovely.
I mean, it was very good.
Where's the leftovers?
But I ate them this evening. That was why we couldn't get a takeaway. But anyway, so I did that. So being a good husband, I thought I'll do the dishwasher. You know, I'm not an elitist person, but I do have a dishwasher. It was in the house when I bought it. I didn't pay for it. I'm not, made of money. So I got a dishwasher in the house. I loaded it and then realised that we didn't have any dishwasher tablets.
Oh no!
So it's a disaster. So I'm thinking, right, well, could go to the shop, but it was getting on for 8:30, and I'm thinking I'm quite tired. I've had a busy day. Asda was open, admittedly, but still. So I thought what I would do, in my in my wisdom at the time.
I know where this is going.
I dumped a load of washing up liquid in there.
Great idea.
Thinking that, well, I wash up with it, during the
it cleans,
day.
so
it cleans. Obviously, I didn't realise it basically turned into like out of a sci-fi movie where within minutes it was like bubbles creeping out of the washing machine.
It's like Mr. Blobby, wasn't it?
Honestly, it come flying out. It was everywhere. It was starting to go across the floor, just bubbles, just more bubbles and bubbles. I've opened it. Literally, it was like, like in a fire on called it a backdraft, didn't they? When you open the window and it comes flying. It was literally like just bubbles just come zooming out. Honestly, it was disgusting.
I know you're a West Ham fan, but your forever blood bubbles is taking that.
In my head, I know, there's other stories. I know someone who's a mutual friend of ours who had a school kit that he wanted to get washed in time, so he put it in the microwave without realising it had nylon in it, so it melted.
Why would you do that?
This man, by the way, has a first from Cambridge in law, but anyway, that's a different story.
Why would you put
He's a doctor of law, actually.
He's a doctor of idiots.
No, you don't say that, mate. No, but on a serious note. So in my head, so what I'm trying to say is, basically all geniuses have their flaws, and that was mine, and I thought, I'll dump a load of washing up liquid in the dishwasher, happy days.
Well, that's the word genius we can't ever use again.
This is a teacher.
But yeah,
mine probably wasn't quite as dramatic. Mine was a bit more of a solemn tale, I guess.
Right.
Tuesday's my day off work, so this week we'd been trying to get a freezer for some time because the house that we live in came with a tiny fridge freezer.
Yeah.
The freezer isn't suitable for Christmas and occasions. We're having a big party next week with all the family. I need a big freezer.
In the winter,
you need your Stollen ready, mate.
Absolutely. Not that will be going in the freezer. Fresh only. As it turned out, my dear Nan said, I've got a spare freezer.
Good, very good.
Fantastic news. It's a bit old, but it does the trick. We'll go and get it. So we went and collected it, brought it all the way back, plugged it in. How long do you want to estimate the freezer worked for?
Well, I do know. Don't you have to let the elements settle in it?
Correct. So you have to leave it for 24 hours to let the elements settle.
So you've had 24 hours?
But a freezer can break before the elements settle.
Oh, okay. So
half an hour.
I say 5 minutes.
Well, you're both a little bit too keen there. So the actual answer was 7 hours and 6 minutes.
Right.
So what happened at that point is, because it's a bit of an old-fashioned freezer, it's got two settings, normal and super.
Super?
So
who wouldn't keep on super? I mean, if you had the option, you'd always put it on super, wouldn't you?
When we plugged it in, the freezer was at a temperature of 3 degrees.
Right, okay. Not freezing.
No. After 7 hours, with the freezer on...
Lid shut.
It was at 22 degrees. Positive 22 degrees.
So it's more of a larder than a freezer.
It's closer to a toaster than a freezer.
It's a sauna.
It would slowly casserole a chicken, let's put it that way.
It was soup.
Yes, basically.
It would slowly casserole a chicken. Right, okay.
Sorry, I was just trying to make a title for you.
Right.
So I then went for the second trick. 7 hours, 6 minutes in we are. I turned it up to super. Right. Now, the problem here is we were now at about 9 o'clock in the evening. I've got to go to bed soon. I'm directly above the freezer. If that blows up, I'm in trouble. So I was being careful.
So did it then go super hot because of that?
Well, so we left it for 2 hours.
So we're getting to 11 o'clock now.
So don't forget, we've turned the dial all the way from normal to super, past everything in between.
So it's now an oven.
Well, you would have thought so. You would have thought it would either be an oven or a freezer, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So what did I do? I went back down 3 hours later. The temperature, 22 degrees.
So
Super did nothing.
So-
And of all the things, I can take the freezer being broken, I can take it slowly casseroling chickens, whatever. What I cannot take is a button that says super doing nothing.
That's a big...
That just breaks a childhood dream.
It was
doesn't
like the
it?
same thing with old British cars back in the 80s. They always had this weird button saying massive turbo. And like,
Why did you say it like that?
because
Why
that's
did you
what
say
everyone
it
you
like
need to
that?
sell it. You need
He's
to put
watched some
massive
Top Gear
turbo.
repeats at the weekend.
I've listened to Clarkson a bit too much. But that's what it was. They just had random buttons to say this will make the car a hell of a
doesn't do
difference.
anything.
And doesn't do
So
anything.
the big question is, Dan, do you think it was already broken? Or, and I'm not shifting blame on you, but did it break in transit?
I think it was already broken.
I don't think it broke in transit because it was protected heavily by blankets and towels and driven by a 75-year-old grandmother at a very slow speed.
Right, okay.
So there was
It's already
no hope
broken.
with that. I think the tale is it was already broken, or it broke almost immediately after being
And
switched
last
on.
question, I'm not casting dispersions upon your grandma, but did she give it to you knowing it was broken so you then had to shift it? Do you think?
I think it's a genius move. By the way.
I hope not, but I'm starting to have suspicions.
They say take it to the dump.
So, last Saturday was non-league day.
It was.
One
It was
of
a very
our
enjoyable day.
favourite days of the football calendar. We'll go with you two guys because obviously you both went together, so it's a bit easy for you to talk
And
about
we went
it.
to a non-league game.
And
Well, it wasn't a
Careful.
game.
Is it non-league?
Yeah.
Well, semi-professional. No, yours is. I'm saying the one that I went to.
Oh, you said he was talking about me.
We'll leave that for a vote.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, so you went to a inverted commas non-league game.
So I went to an inverted commas non-league game, which Craig Savage was involved in.
Yes.
Obviously as a manager.
Yes.
And you are the coach of.
Now-
But decided to go on holiday to a different country.
yeah.
How ironic.
Isn't this
You
another
always
game
had words a
today?
few weeks ago were it's not always that important that Charlie's there on a Saturday.
Agreed.
So,
But
you
the
can
one game
have
you
that
turn up to,
No,
you want
okay.
him there on a
Can
Saturday.
I just put this in context? Before I come in as one of Craig's staff, you and I went to another game of Craig's last season in which they were 4-1 up, and managed to draw 5-5.
No, 3-0 up.
3-0 up, sorry,
3-0
and
up,
the game
you
ended
got back
5-1.
3-all, 5-3.
So that was your last experience of watching this side. So now your non-league day experience.
So obviously it's the first time I've watched the side since Charlie has become a coach and since Craig has become a manager. And it was also a game which you guys described to me before as might be a bit one of the more physical games, should we say? Which, let me just cast that but no, that wasn't the case at all.
No.
They were
I'm
very-
judging them by last year.
They were a very
Even though we went to a game this season.
a rejuvenated side. No, they were the same then though.
They were a decent hard-working side. They were nothing wrong with them whatsoever.
they got-
They were a bit direct, but
Yeah.
so be it. But one of the things that impressed me was that the side I went to watch was also, the reason I was there was the most local to my house.
Yeah, on
So-
non-league day.
Yeah, so I went to watch Crawley Green Reserves FC, which was a 10-minute walk from my house, and Craig Savage in charge should be very proud of his team, shouldn't he? And the man who's going to get most of the credit from me, I'm afraid, today, is Charlie Betts, the
Oh
first team coach.
no. He was
Reserve team coach, not first team.
So what the people who are listening
No.
probably don't know is that the podcast that would be the most interesting is probably the half an hour we talk about before we start the podcast, which is basically what's happened in your world, a diary of a non-league coach and manager,
Yeah.
which is something that will come up eventually. But every week, Charlie mentions 3 things in his coaching: when and when not to press, defending set pieces, and shape. After fitness in July, of course.
Yeah.
But that was more Craig saying, do fitness. Which I'll let you have your benefits, that worked.
Yeah.
But what happened in that game, and it was the most impressive, is at non-league level, we're talking step 7 non-league, correct?
Yeah.
Probably the most organised tactical shape I've seen defensively from a team for the first hour.
First hour. Right.
And also
Which is giving an indication of what happens later on in the game, isn't it?
also probably the best team press I've seen at that level as well, which was really good. And that continued throughout, even when it was a bit ragged towards the end. And it was a fantastic defensive display for that hour. The only problem being is that moving forward, obviously the same emphasis hadn't been done because Charlie was a defender, Craig was a defender, and they'd only been 3 months. I think that's a fair assumption. So what they're going to learn from Charlie moving forward,
Yeah.
you might need an attacking coach for that, I'm afraid.
Ironically, I was doing some shooting on Tuesday. No,
But a really good performance.
Yeah.
Probably not quite as ruthless in front of goal. Maybe didn't create the clear-cut chances. And despite the dominance, were gifted 2 penalties by the referee, which we all agreed on, I think.
Yeah.
But a really good performance. a bit rattled when conceding a goal. I think that's fair to say as well.
Yeah, I'll say my bit in a minute. I'll let you carry on.
Okay, so probably conceded a goal about the hour mark from defending a set piece, which Charlie will be very upset about. Very rattled for a little while, letting another goal, of course, but then the spirit to come back and win it, and the way it turned on the screw as soon as they scored again, the confidence was right there, and it was instantly back to we're in our element again. And it was a very good example of how non-league football players can be coached, trained, and improved. And that's probably the biggest positive you look for. You don't look there to be the best player in the world or to be the best team in the world. It's to improve people and make them enjoy the football.
Well, I think that's speaking, obviously, Craig's going to talk about in a minute. I think...
just to confirm, 4-2 victory.
Oh, yes, 4-2 victory,
yes. I was going to carry on.
I think that maybe sometimes the difference between maybe being successful or not successful is having everyone going in the same direction. No matter, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but whatever players you've got. So I think it's quite good to have a philosophy to buy into. I think it's interesting to see that maybe the hardest bit, I think, in a football match is actually to defend, because within reason, attacking wise, I suppose you can give them a bit of freedom and a bit of onus over that, but defensively, if you don't get that right, obviously you lose games.
And most players, given their own devices, will naturally work on attacking.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But anyway, Craig, how was your non-league day from your experience?
Yeah,
I've got a question for Dan at the end.
It was as a manager, it's always stressful. For the game, I thought first 45 minutes was probably the best we played all season. It showed, as Cody just said, that's where we worked on throughout pre-season and obviously during the start of the season. It clearly showed. Well, so brilliant. And then we lost our way, but I think we had a couple of good chances. I know our big striker missed a sitter in the area. I thought if that went in, I think we took our chances in the first half. I think the game could have been easily out of sight.
I would agree with that.
Regarding the penalty in the first half, from my angle, I didn't think it was a penalty.
You're not on. Yeah, go on.
I didn't think it was. I literally had my hands covering my mouth like, oh no. But no. To be fair, the bench didn't complain. The players didn't complain. No. Fine.
And can I just say, bar those two iffy penalty decisions, the referee's control of the game. Because you guys have mentioned
I like him. Yeah, he's a good.
His control of the game is of a much higher level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his eyesight isn't.
He's a professor.
I've just got to say really, really quickly a side story to that bloke. So a few weeks ago, he reffed a game of ours I was actually at, and he booked one of our players who thought unfairly that he'd been booked. But anyway, that being all said and done, after the game, that player went up to him and said, "Look, ref, I appreciate you booked me. Do you have to put it through? Do us a favour." The referee literally, and it's not exaggeration, laughed in his face and walked off. Like, that's the sort of bloke you're dealing with, and I love that. Like, he literally, didn't he? Straight in his face and just walked out the change.
Laughed in his face and just left.
Love that.
And then as I said, I think we obviously lost away, and we said at half time, so that obviously, like football manager, guy against complacency and all that stuff. And we literally said that.
Did you push that button?
Hang on. Calm, assertive, aggressive.
I was cautious. I was cautious. No, I said that. We have to. Obviously, next 10 minutes is going to be vital, because if we let them have that one chance, they're going to score. And funny enough, they scored from a corner, which obviously I said the second phase, don't go blind on your markers, and that's what exactly happened. 1-1, fair enough.
And almost happened again 2 minutes later.
Almost identical. And then I lost the plot a little bit, because I'm thinking I can't see this twice in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just constant, just organisation, just sort it all out. Yeah. But then obviously they took the lead from a deflected shot. I thought, I was like, club, okay, fine.
At that point, it didn't look like there was a way back.
I didn't think there was, to be fair. But then we got the penalty, which I couldn't see it. I did not see it.
Good old Arsene Wenger, not in a million years. The referee, a corner was delivered. Was it a corner or just a corner? A corner was delivered. The referee blew for handball as the man cleared it away at the front post. A best thigh height, maybe. There's absolutely
no opposition
chance.
In sense then.
I think they were.
They were a little bit upset, but they handled it very well.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and then another good penalty. And then we had a free kick on the left-hand side, whipped in, little flick on, keeper came out in no man's land, big man heads it in.
It was a gift, wasn't it?
Yeah, if obviously keeper staying in his line, he's catching it, but he was a bit of a sluger, came out and missed it. And then obviously they looked tired, to be fair. I think our fitness showed at the end.
Well done, coach.
One of our young strikers went round the goalkeeper, crossed it for our left winger to score his hat trick. So
all in all, a good non-league.
I was happy with it. I was happy with the result. I was happy with the first 35 minutes. I was unhappy for the next 20 to 25 minutes. or 35 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes, I was absolutely delighted.
Can I just say, as part of the non-league day experience, and it might be the question you were going to ask actually, as I was allowed into the bar,
I was allowed
into the bar.
Don't work.
Very good cheap drinks and food.
Yeah.
Very cheap,
yeah,
good, competitive. Well, just about Chris over there.
But
very good competitive prices. And obviously, the difference with that pitch is you can actually from the bar watch the game out.
You can, yes.
Which is great, but I didn't do that. I came out.
My only criticism of the food, and I can say this on a non-league day perspective.
It's not the food.
No, but I'm just saying.
Right, okay.
It's on the side of the. So after the game, you get the food, but there's also some sandwiches on the side of the bar, like rolls. Every single one of them has a form of cheese in it, and it annoys me a little bit. Really, I want a bit more variety. Exactly.
It's a slab of cheese.
And it's a slab of cheese. I'm not entirely sure.
It'd be a wedge for the door.
I'm not entirely sure it's always in date. So, I really like the clubhouse.
That doesn't really matter with
So,
cheese.
as a review, if you were doing a vlog, maybe avoid the pre-match rolls that are available at the club.
But you can afford at least 4 bags of crisps, so...
No, that's true.
That's true. But non-league day...
Was there many other people there on non-league day?
There were quite a few.
There was quite a few.
There was about 30 people.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a really good game. It was enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
I guess that's the difference I'll say, because we went about that time last year, us two, when you weren't involved at the club.
No.
And we watched the game. It was a boring 1-1 or 2 or something. We went at half time. It was that
That's
bad.
right, yeah.
1-2-1.
Wouldn't, wasn't it? But
Yes, but it was 1-1 when we left.
1-1 when you left.
But on that occasion, it was an awful football game. I can say, as a neutral person who just enjoyed football, that I would go and watch that any week. Luton aren't at home, I would happily go and watch that and say it's the nearest to my house. I'll go and watch some football.
No, that's a good endorsement.
And that's all I can say. That's great. And a couple of quid in the bar, and that's all a non-league team needs, isn't it?
To be fair.
So, Charlie, you went to a game in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief because it's non-league, but it's probably strictly not non-league.
So it's a Premier League, but it's semi-professional.
Yeah.
And they're in a cup with non-league English teams in Scotland.
Yes, basically, yeah. So does that count as non-league? I don't know.
Let's count it as non-league.
So I went to watch Ballymena versus Crusaders. Crusaders, for those of you who have any sort of understanding of Northern Irish football, will be one of the top 2 teams. I've got to be honest, quite disappointed. I mean, the first half was absolutely abysmal. Great thing about half time is they do sell Tunnock's caramel wafers there, so that was a beautiful half time.
Probably required now, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Well, yeah, probably. Do you know what? I never thought of that until you just said. Maybe that was part of the thing of playing in the cup, that you have to sell it as a half time refreshment. The things that you don't like, Craig, that Dan and I literally salivate over.
Well done, move on.
Following last year, we can go to Bournemouth and find out, can't we?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
See if they've got any iron brew left over.
But yeah, I went there. To be honest, it was a pants first half, and then Crusaders scored early on, opened the game out, end-to-end stuff. Ballymena should have won in the last minute of the game. Quite a decent crowd. I got talking to, my father-in-law's got lots of fingers and lots of pies, and I ended up talking to actually someone involved with Crusaders and asking about the professional part, because they were saying they're professional, but it's professional in name, but not really. So anyone who's got like a decent enough job that will pay more than they come on a Tuesday and a Thursday evening. So they have like a rotating sort of group of about 9-10 players who train every day, but that's not really a sustainable way of life. So it's professional in the sense of there is training available every day, but it's not in the same standard.
It's probably the same as a lot of National League and National League North and South
Probably,
clubs that have chosen to go professional.
Yeah.
There'll still be around half the squad that aren't earning enough to make it
so they've got some players who, like solicitors, things like that, as an example. You can earn more as a solicitor, with all due respect, than probably what you are playing essentially a high level of non-league football. So, in that sense, how professional is it? But yeah, no, it's not bad. Not a bad day out.
And I guess for you've probably been to Ballymena probably most years.
Yeah.
Is how did the side compare to the year before? I guess.
I don't know really.
What do you think for the season?
They're a lot more direct. They're a lot more. Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying, do you think they overachieved last season?
Yeah, but I think they caught everyone by surprise. They've got a couple of injuries. I think they're a lot more direct than what I remember last year. They actually played some football, and the reason they got back in the game for 20 minutes on last Saturday was they got the ball out wide at the very least, and then maybe swung in a few crosses from deep. But at least they worked it up the pitch that way. I hate it, and it's not just that game. I hate it at any level of football when teams go from back to front. I don't mind a ball over the fullback, or I don't mind a decent clipped ball over the centre half or something. But at least if it's
the goalkeeper straight through the goalkeeper.
Yeah, if it's gone through the midfield and then it's played, or even if you're playing to midfield, then back to the back foot, and then it goes or something like that. At least work it
a different angle.
Yeah, I hate it when the goalkeeper gets the ball, rolls out to possibly the fullback or the centre half, and then boom up the pitch.
Straight line.
Yeah, and as anyone who's played football, it's so easy to defend against because you can tell what the trigger is going to be as soon as that head
just
goes
drop
up.
5 yards. One goes and attacks it, and one sits there in case it counts.
And
it's easy.
It might be effective, but gosh, it's bloody boring to watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think if they stick to a bit more of an actual identity of playing through the midfield at the very, because they've got some decent centre midfielders.
Was it a wet day? Or was it?
No, the rest of the day we didn't rain during the game. It was quite sunny towards the end of it. But yeah, no, not bad. I mean, Crusaders are a very good team. They've got a lad, Paul Heatley, because obviously Gavin White used to play there a few years ago.
Just out of curiosity, what are the ticket prices like?
£12 across the board, no matter who you are, where you're paying.
In
So
the
home
normal
away
league?
team.
Oh, that's not bad.
So it's a what's the word?
Standardised. Yeah?
Standardised, yeah.
That's
So
a good idea.
So yeah, but no. So I think all in all, not a bad day. But I think you probably saw a more exciting game than what I did, and probably maybe even a better quality, arguably, from the first half that I saw last week. So yeah.
I've got some favourite stories from non-league day.
You got some golden non-league gems, haven't you?
There you go, Dan. Yes, you've got some golden non-league gems. Which is the third attempt of us trying to make some sort of link to you now, telling us some little good.
And you'll hear the
goodies
rest on Christmas Day.
from non-league day.
Yes, so one of the things I did at last non-league day, and we talked about it a little bit, is just picking out a couple of the favourite offers, because obviously a lot of non-league teams do a lot to try and get people through the games.
Yeah, I like these.
So one of the ones we often talk about is a lot of teams go for the pay what you think.
Yes.
So teams like even as high as Aldershot in a national league against Hartlepool.
I think Solihull Wars did it as well.
Yeah.
Possibly. Saturday,
So that's always one of the good ones. There's always the kids for free or kids for a quid and
Bring a
things
dog
like that.
for free.
But, non-league dog days become quite a big thing.
Why is
as well,
that a big
hasn't it?
thing?
Well, because a lot of people have dogs and like non-league football, I'm
To
guessing.
be fair, it does what it should really. It comes to.
So there was one great team, I can't remember who it was, who did free entry if you bought a dog. I think it's Kings Langley, maybe.
Is it Kings Langley?
Possibly. Or made it cheaper.
It's better than any walkway for Kings Langley.
But of course there were two standouts this time. So
No, I've got it here. He's right. It is Kings Langley.
Was it Kings Langley?
bang on.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
take that back.
two standouts, and Charlie's probably got them in that article as well.
No. I put Kings Langley.
First of all, a name a blast from the past: the reformed AFC Russian and Diamonds.
Right.
Yeah.
Free entry were offered to a certain type of people.
Oh.
Right.
And it was based on a German theme. Anyone want to have a guess? Thinking of what it is over in Germany
It's
at the moment?
Oktoberfest,
It's
yeah.
Oktoberfest.
Right.
So what might you be able to get in for free?
Lederhosen, isn't it?
Well, not far off. You got in for free if you wore a Bavarian dress.
Right. Okay.
I haven't got any statistics to confirm
No,
how
but
many
still.
people took up the offer.
I
That's
did.
interesting.
Little side note, I did see something on Twitter the other day. They tricked one of the I can't remember what club it was. It might have been AFC Russian and Diamonds or Bedford Town, but they tricked one of the players. Like, yeah, we're all allowed to
Yes,
wear
I saw it.
Lederhosens.
Okay.
And basically, it was just one bloke.
So they've stitched him out.
They turned up in
brilliant.
Lederhosen and they were all filming
They
ready
were
for
really
it.
ready.
I've got a lot of time
Poor
for that.
guy.
I love that.
Love it.
Yeah, so that was it. Yeah, so that's obviously a cool.
So I
story.
think the AFC Russian and Diamonds thing, I'm not sure if they've got anyone German involved now, but on the last year they were a professional club, they had two German players who were among their stars.
You know,
What league are
AFC
they in now? AFC Russian Diamonds.
they're in the. It's nice man. Suddenly,
Oh, okay, right.
but the AFC Russian and Diamonds' first ever game was against Crawley Green.
He always loves to
He
shoot.
loves that, doesn't he?
Pre-season friendly, but it was the first ever
Right,
game.
we've promoted your club for 5 minutes now.
Just saying.
But there is one standout from non-league day, and you're not going to top this probably in the next decade.
No.
And it links back to a subject we talked about a year ago.
Yeah.
And that was me having a rant about Iceland and a certain product
Yeah.
by a certain brand,
Okay.
and that brand's popped up again here.
So you're saying the Hovis?
Not Hovis,
No,
Warburton's.
Warburton, sorry.
Mighty White.
Mighty White, yes. That comical thing.
Obviously now since changed to Wonder Life, so we worked. It's the one successful thing we've done. But I'm taking you to Thetford Rovers,
Oh yeah.
down
Now,
in the
Bedford's Norfolk in it, I'm sure.
lower echelons of non-league football.
Good
Yeah.
club, nice club.
All paying adults required to pay.
You just said nice club. Have you ever been there?
No.
Go
Big
for
up
it.
the
So yeah,
Bedford
go on.
massive.
Sorry, Thetford
So
Rovers.
yes, Thetford Rovers, all
Oh,
paying
Rovers,
adults, I believe, had to pay £2.
Right.
Okay, but they got a free product if they
no.
if they paid £2.
Obviously bread related now, because the link you've given us.
I
You
no
trying to
idea.
say they all got
There
a
was
small loaf of bread?
no associated explanation. Not far off. They were given a bag of Warburton's bread rolls.
Anyone who entered.
Any
full spacer.
No. Any full paying adult at £2
Got a bag of bread
got a free
rolls.
bag of bread rolls.
What the... I mean, if you saw a 0-0 draw, at least you got some bread rolls out of it. I suppose it'd be like...
So,
Imagine get soup at half time. I got alright. Got my bread roll.
Well,
ready.
is that what it's for, maybe?
But the lovely thing was the article, which is we've teamed up with Warburton's,
Oh.
and that I just thought.
Hey, what are you
fantastic.
going to do?
Bread rolls.
Warburton's base near there.
I wouldn't know. The adverts make them out to be in the north of England somewhere, didn't they? So I
Yeah.
don't know.
So
Either way, I
absolutely
mean, at worst, if the game's crap, at least you can throw some bread rolls at some players.
Absolutely.
And then you can get...
We don't condone that. By the way.
so that
Front of lino.
that was probably the funniest entry for non-league
Yeah,
day.
That's a weird one.
But I thought I'd end on a heartwarming tale because
Go on.
there is
Oh,
obviously
that
going to
is.
be a big negative in the middle of this episode. So let's talk about a positive one. And it's something that I didn't realise had happened before. I thought it was a first and looked back and seen they'd done it before. AS Roma, Italian Serie A team.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
You may have noticed, or may not have by looking at your faces, adopted Hackney Wick for non-league day.
Did they really?
Sent
I
them
didn't
free
know
kit
that.
shirts, everything to go with it,
Really?
loads of equipment.
Oh, fair play.
And I
to
found
them. That is
out,
brilliant.
I then found out that the year before, Roma had done exactly the same with a Scottish junior side called St Anthony.
Right.
And
That's
they've been doing
brilliant.
it every year for non-league day for the last 3 or 4
That
years.
is incredible. Fair play to them.
And AS Roma, we've got to be fair, they're one of the shining lights in an Italian football league, which has had a lot of criticism and has a lot of...
Oh, gosh,
AS Roma also had a team over the summer that, when they were announcing transfers, were also doing Twitter links to try and find a missing child, and they linked it to a transfer. Because they knew it would obviously get thousands and thousands of views. And about 4 have been found as a result of it, which is really brilliant. But adopting Hackney Wick, sending them loads of equipment, and they did a really big, and I was looking at it earlier, it was brilliant, a really big long article about the manager who founded the team in 2015.
Oh,
his name, Bobby Kasanga.
Yeah.
So he'd had 8 years in prison for gang
he does the lives, not lives.
Go on, you can get it.
Lives, not lives. Something like that.
Yes, lives, not lives. Yeah.
Right.
So 8 years in prison for gang-related crimes after a friend had died, and obviously got involved in knife crime. But he had come out and built this club, built the community following with it, and his initiative now is literally saving lives in the community. And AS Roma, they've done a big interview with him.
Wow!
And it was a whole 2-page spread on the website. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the result on the pitch for them wasn't successsul because they lost 7-0 to Oxyjets.
Which is fine, but that is
I'm
that
just saying
pales
from
in
the playing side of it,
But-
wasn't a
no,
great
fair
day,
play.
but
Round of
from
applause
Roma
to
for them,
AS
fantastic.
And I know it's a sad thing to end on, but it did bring me back to a little bit of sadness. Is why are AS Roma having to do it?
Yeah, country.
Why can't West Ham, which is near Hackney?
Yeah, no, I completely
Any English professional side. I don't mean to be rude. The most we've seen from any clubs is teams getting loads of praise for putting a Twitter thing to say what the most local games are. I don't mean to be rude.
No,
There's
I'm
easier
not
thing to do. Any Premier League club, just send them a bunch of kits and stuff.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I'm not saying that it has to be this amount, but what's 500 quid to a Premier League club in comparison to what 500 quid is to a grassroots club? Go get you a brand new kit.
They haven't even got the shipping
Pay your
costs.
pitch vouchers for the year. Do you know what I mean? All sorts of stuff like that.
It's like obviously it might be later on in our other section. I can't remember. But like the FA Cup, because Bury are not in it, whoever gets the last ball drawn gets an automatic buy to the next round. That's £35,000.
Yeah.
So could you imagine if a non-league club gets the last ball in the FA Cup, £35,000 given to them straight away?
I look at that the other way, and I know we're going on the right tangent here.
I didn't say it was a good thing.
So let's say but even for the non-league club, you're saying that's a good thing. £35,000.
No, I didn't say half it's good.
But
the other half it's not, because I want that FA Cup then.
But what I'm saying is, for that 35,000, let's say it's a step 5. Let's say it's Crawley Green for an example.
Yeah.
Because there will be a step 4 or 5 team somewhere in that competition left. Because there's always one. If they had drawn a League 1 or League 2 team, let's say Bury for an example, and they would naturally be playing on BBC on Friday night.
Yeah.
They would get 67,500 in TV revenue.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll have
a
more
full
money.
capacity house and loads of money for the
That's
game.
what I'm saying. That's what it's half of it's good and half it's bad, because obviously they miss out on that.
Well, should we naturally
my argument is I can't see the half that's good.
No.
No, so I think you earn £35,000 for no reason.
Just to go back to what we were talking about originally, and then we can do this a bit afterwards. I think that what we just talked about, those sums of money are obviously fantastic. I don't understand why professional clubs can't give a fraction of that to a non-league club, because that still makes such a huge difference. Yeah. Whether it be 500 quid, 800 quid to a Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, whatever you want to call it, team. You know, just your local non-league team. It makes
your community,
such a huge
people
difference.
who are probably your fans are coming to watch you at the weekend and spending 50, 60 quid a pop.
Exactly, yeah. I think that, so it's a shame. It's brilliant from Roma, but it's a shame it's having to come all the way from Italy for that to affect Hackney Wick, for example.
Absolutely. But well done Roma, well done Thetford Rovers, and well done Warburtons.
Well done on the day.
Okay, Dan, it's another tale of the unexpected. Now, the reason
I'm still here.
No, well, you don't always get interested by these, but
I enjoyed last week's.
No, it wasn't too bad. Right, so we're going back to Lisbon in November 1971 for another one of our tales of the unexpected. Now, I say Lisbon 1971 in November because it's loosely more the backdrop for the story than the actual story itself, because it's based around a lot of referees and unfortunately some of the mistakes they've made. Okay. So, I'll use the backdrop of Sporting Lisbon versus Rangers, which was a Cup Winners' Cup second round tie, okay? And the referee for that day, who by the way has one of the best names of a referee I've ever heard, was Louis Van Ravens. Which
Fantastic, love that.
Which also led me on to the names of famous referees who have a decent name. This one, I mean, you're knocked up in this one. 1878 FA Cup final referee, would you like to have a guess at his name? Mr. Sagar Bastard was his name. So, So he was, and Mr. Sagar Bastard is not just famous for being an 1878 FA Cup final. He also famously sent off a dumb player for foul and abusive language, which obviously, if you're dumb, means you can't speak. And he sent him off for foul and abusive language, which obviously is not appropriate to do if someone can't talk at all.
Okay.
So yeah, that was him anyway. But anyway, moving back on to other referees. So the reason I'm bringing up Louis Van Ravens is he made quite a cataclysmic error. But I just want to give you a few short ones and then we'll go back to Louis Van Ravens.
Okay.
Is that okay? So, for example, famously, Sunderland in 1954, they started with only one lino after the other linesman, for whatever reason, stood in the wash bowl in the referee's changing room and broke it and was trying to fix it. The referee didn't realise that the other linesman hadn't come out and in front of 43,000 people had to stop the game and find out what happened, while his other lino sheepishly then come out after breaking some of the utensils in the toilet. What he was doing in the wash bowl, I have no idea, but he's managed to break the sink.
Is that story verified?
That is verified. I can
Wow.
Google it, honestly, I promise you. Right, so...
You can Google anything and it'd be fake.
Well, no, I could Google... Oh, I don't know, Craig.
This,
I don't know what to say.
this isn't a debate worth having,
No.
just crack on.
Okay, another one. So in 1983, Wimbledon, Wally Downs, ironically, obviously now still Wimbledon manager.
Well,
Okay, for now.
Gardening league.
Yeah, he famously tried to take a free kick, like obviously back in the days of the back pass, and tried to knock it back to Dave Bessemer, who was in goal, and it went over his head. Now, the laws of the game at the time meant it should have been a corner. The referee gave a goal, okay, and obviously that wasn't acceptable, and Wimbledon lost the game 1-0. I mean, this is in Norway. I don't know if this is true. If it's true, again, this is a bit like that arm that punched the goalkeeper that time. Apparently there was a game in Norway where a player took a penalty and the ball burst and the skin, like the outer shell, went over the bar, but the bladder went in the goal and the referee gave the goal. Apparently that happened in Norway. I don't know if that's definitely true.
I don't believe it, and if it did happen, surely that's correct.
Well, I don't. That's an interesting debate because is it still the ball? Because obviously the bladder's just like.
is it the chicken or it was first chicken or the egg? That's
I mean, I don't see how that's applicable. But it's,
that's what it is with the football, isn't it?
well, no, I don't know if it's what's first, isn't it? Anyway, okay.
You know
So
what I
that's
mean.
that. I don't know if that's true.
I guess did the whole ball cross the line?
That's essentially what we're supposed to be saying. So anyway, we'll go back to Sporting Lisbon versus Rangers. Okay, so Cup Winners' Cup, second round, just to repeat that. At Ibrox, Rangers won 3-2. No dramas. Everyone has a good evening.
Everyone has a good game.
Sorry, because people wouldn't believe this. Charlie has a two-sided piece of notes, and he is still the statement, everyone had a good evening.
What I meant
Did you
was...
write that down?
No, what I meant was... No, nothing dramatic happened apart from the fact that...
It was fine.
The Rangers won... It was fine. Rangers won 3-2.
It was a good
So
day.
there you go.
Okay, Ice Cube, it was a good day. Oh,
So
Jesus.
anyway, go back to Lisbon now. So for the return leg, cutting a very long story
Not
short,
such a good evening.
not such a good evening.
No, I don't think it was.
No. So Sporting Lisbon in normal time won 3-2. Obviously, exact same scoreline, meaning that we go to extra time.
Yeah.
Right.
With me so far. Score is three. So the score would be 5 each. I've got the maths there.
5 each.
Yeah. Now in extra time, Rangers and Sporting Lisbon scored 1 each. Being on an aggregate score, it was 6-all.
Yes.
So the referee took it to penalties.
But should it have been away goals?
And that's exactly the point.
So
So
my goal were one.
it was.
No, it's
Was
still
it the semis?
Now his argument was he was adamant. The referee was adamant. There was a rule that said that away goals don't count in extra time because the away team in the second leg would have had longer to score an away goal. That was his logic.
Good logic,
That, you know, essentially about 120 minutes compared to Sporting Lisbon's
It's
90.
good logic, and it's also incorrect logic.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, it is incorrect. So Louis Van Ravens took the game to penalties, wrongfully as we've just discussed. And what was also extraordinary about that penalty shootout was that Rangers missed all 5 penalties and still managed to lose 3-0 on penalties because Sporting Lisbon also missed their first 2, so it was 0-0 after 2 penalties each. Anyway, Sporting Lisbon are through as it stands. Rangers are obviously gutted. They then lodge an appeal and find out, obviously, yes, away goals do count in extra time, and they go through. And Louis Van Ravens never refereed again because of it. He got suspended and then eventually banned because of the ridiculousness of trying to make up his own laws and stuff. And then Rangers, ironically, that year,
Genuine error. Do you know what I mean?
Rangers that year won the Cup Winners' Cup. As a little fact for you. So after going out, they then went on to win it.
So you know what it means. And if you lose, find a way to appeal, and you win the cup.
Politics deciding football, even in the 70s.
Exactly.
time for any other business, and the main talking point from the world of football was England versus Bulgaria in Sofia.
And sadly,
It wasn't to do with football, it was to do with trouble in the stands where racist behaviour was loud and not proud, because it's ridiculous. It's 2019.
It's abysmal.
I think the saddest thing, particularly the obviously everyone's seen the shocking images from the first half, is the fact that it was clearly orchestrated before the night.
Yeah, they're saying...
Oh, it's premeditated.
Yeah, they're saying it was pre-planned. One of the Bulgarian fans told an England fan, I think. Sorry, one of the Bulgarian players told... Made. Yeah, you've got no respect on the jumper. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm not qualified enough to say this, but I feel like there has to be a culture shift, not just in one country, but in football in general. Still, it's
the one thing I'm really keen to point out here is that we can't get on a moral high horse.
No,
because we've talked a bit earlier in the season about the Huddersfield kit thing and the Millwall racism and the fine difference.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. That's what I mean. It needs to be a culture shift.
It almost looked a bit like when you look at the pictures of English games in the 70s.
Oh gosh,
it looked more like that, which probably does shift 30 years behind in footballing senses, in immigration senses as a country.
Yeah.
The sad thing, again, we talked briefly off camera, the Bulgarian captain was magnificent in trying to reason with the fans.
Yeah.
It's sad that he had to do it.
Yeah.
But it's important that we try and highlight, as much as there were some awful instances there, we have to highlight the people from that country that are trying to stop it. The Prime Minister since has been excellent. Yeah. He's been making sure arrests have been made. He made sure the federation, the Bulgarian FA chief executive, who was a former player, was sacked on the spot or had to leave as opposed to the next day.
Had to resign,
He told off the manager for his ridiculous comments after saying he didn't hear anything.
And journalists were stupid as well, because I didn't hear anything. Look, if I can hear it on TV, obviously not in that country, sure, how can they understand and not hear it?
Yeah, I think...
And I thought Gareth Southgate done brilliantly. I thought the players had handled themselves well. I said the Bulgarian captain was superb. And at the end of the day, I should be talking about an excellent 6-0 performance for England.
Yeah.
And that's the sad bit of it all, isn't
I think
the England Football League were fantastic.
The last thing I'll say to, and it's the one negative I'll pitch in with this, what upset me more was UEFA's reaction to it. You know, I think you put it in the group, the fining of England for quite minor offences in what is... I appreciate it, maybe there was a thing where not having enough stewards. You were talking about an incident where a game was nearly abandoned or postponed due to racism.
To me,
and we're still doing stuff like that.
If you're following a protocol and there's a minor fine for that, that's fine. But the problem's going to be when that fine's compared to the fine they give for racism is going to look stupid. And it's such a shame because in terms of in the game, a lot's been spoken about the protocol. UEFA have made such a step forward in having a clear action that any team in that position could follow. And then after the match, we've gone back to these old-fashioned rules which aren't fit for purpose.
Yeah, no.
The UEFA protocol is 10 years old. And there has been racism...
hasn't been implemented?
It's exactly what I was about to say. This has been gone for 10 years, and there's been racist moments in games over the last 10 years. And obviously not just in Bulgaria, but also some in England and around the world, of Russia and as well. But and no one's really, as I said, no one's followed the protocol until we started piping up about they had to close a bit of the stadium off the last two games. Oh, what if this happens here?
It seemed a bit more last resort, didn't it?
So, and for then UEFA to have like equal right again. Oh, we'll close part of the stadium. Closing part of the stadium does absolutely naffle.
Well, that was proven, wasn't it?
Yeah, but absolutely naffle. And now obviously we've got Lazio got to close part of the stadium because of racism. I think another. A few other Bulgarian clubs, teams. Slavian Bratislava.
That was
got to do one.
Slovakia. Because Martin Dubravka was talking about.
Yeah, Slovakia. Closing part of the stadium does nothing. Finding them minimal is nothing.
But I hope that game's shown that, if nothing else, because part of the stadium was closed with the equal game banners and that, and it was such a clear image still. That I think that will make a difference to moving forward.
And it's I don't agree. And because it's so clearly obvious as well, you can see what the Bulgarian fans were doing. It was so clear.
What I don't agree with though is when people are saying they should be booted out. And the reason I say that, just hear me out, as a team, I mean, booted out of competitions, is we spoke not long ago about Sierra Leone as an example, who, because politically their government couldn't organise themselves, were then banned from taking part in football competitions. And that wasn't the players' fault. Now, you know...
Was it the players' fault back in the 80s when England got the ban?
But that was... I agree with what you're saying.
But that's equally poor governance to what we've got now.
Yes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, with that, there was a lot more violence and there was a physical threat. Now, I'm not demeaning what was being said or done, because obviously it's horrendous. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think we should necessarily punish the players for a group of, and it is. I still believe it's a minority, albeit fucking horrendously wrong. A minority. I don't know if a whole team of players should be, persecuted for those people's
The
actions.
problem is their manager hasn't helped their case.
No, agreed with you on that.
But let's end on a positive of the story, which is Gareth Southgate was excellent.
Handled it very
A
well.
fantastic leader. Whatever he achieves as a manager of England on the pitch, he will be remembered fondly for the work he's done off it, which has been excellent across many forms and many areas.
Gareth Southgate handled it very well. Tyrone Mings on his debut for England handled it spot on. Great attitude. The rest of the black players handled it very well, and the whole team performance was superb. No complaints at all from that.
So a day where we could genuinely say, which doesn't often happen with the national team, we were proud to be England.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Anyway, moving on to more positive news.
Would you like me to start?
Go on,
yes.
I wanted to talk about a well done, another well done actually.
Congratulations, well done.
And it featured a game from League 2, which was Mansfield v Oldham last weekend.
Oh, it was a horrible game for Oldham.
6-1 win for Mansfield.
Yeah.
Oldham finished with 9 men. But I wanted to talk about a little incident in there. Is a young player from Oldham. His name is Dylan. You'll have to forgive the pronunciation. Fage, I think. Fage. At Oldham via Oxair's second team as a youngster.
Right.
He unfortunately had a head injury during the game. A few minutes after coming on, he was unconscious and he ended up suffering a concussion. Mm-hmm. But the medical assistance was very slow to come on. I don't think the referee noticed immediately. But the Mansfield captain, Christian Pearce, stopped and went and put him in a recovery position, which ended up saving him any health concerns.
Yeah.
And Oldham put out a fantastic tweet later with a lovely picture of the kid smiling and a massive thank you to Christian Pearce. So
that's where
he's a very good.
That's
very
what
good
football should be.
Yeah.
Well done, Christian Pearce. Good professional there.
Absolutely.
Just returning to a story from last week, obviously we mentioned about sportsmen who then go on to play in other sports, and we obviously led with Peter Cech. And
yes.
I don't know if you saw during the week.
He saved 2 penalties.
He saved 2 penalties in a shootout and won Guildford's.
It was incredible, wasn't
it? Whatever cup match it was. So, fair play to him. I love the fact you can go from 2 or 3 different sports. But yes, not only to win on your debut, but to be basically the match hero. Fair play to him.
Did anyone see, it's very recent, FC United of Manchester, they're playing Basford Town during the week, and the defender scored in his own half.
A header.
With a header.
It bounced on the edge of the box, went over the keeper.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I don't know where the keeper was going.
Well, if you look at that clip, I still maintain that even when he got caught out of position, if he put his hand up, he would have saved that.
Or
he's a mate. I'm sorry. He's a mate.
He's a mate. It's non-league for you.
That's
That's
the sort
what
of goal
happens.
that I would imagine you would score. To be honest.
What, with a header from?
No, he's that. You know, remember Jason Cundy scored with a tackle.
Yeah.
That's one of Dan's sorts of goals.
As an 11-year-old, I did score a volley from the halfway line once, and it was an attempted clearance.
That's what I mean. He's that kind of geezer. He tackles someone.
It was like a basically
only goal I scored for 3 years.
I'll say well done to the defender. Scoring a very goal.
I've got one more. I've got 2 more stories. One's a bit. Anyway, so Senegal under 17s were due to take part in the FIFA World Cup, and they still are. But I shouldn't say it's without laughing. FIFA have brought in random MRI testing because there's a concern over a lot of, and this is not a racial thing, but concern over a lot of African teams, age of their players. So
we've had a couple this year, haven't we? Was it an Egyptian one we had earlier in the year? And we had an Indian one last year as well from Asia.
Oh yes!
So we had the picture of him.
That fella. Oh my gosh, he was at 35, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
So off the back of that, once that was announced that they for this World Cup that they were going to do the random, Senegal suddenly dropped 3 players. That makes you wonder if those lads were ever 17 and more importantly, how old actually are they?
They don't need to. Senegal got a great footballing philosophy.
Apparently they do need a couple of overages. But anyway, so that was. I just made me laugh a little bit that as soon as this suddenly 3 of them get dropped. Although Senegal deny that those 3 were over the age of 17. They said they've done it just for footballing reasons.
We never know.
And the last one, which was quite a nice story to end on, was Coventry City. I don't know if you've seen they've got a new kit coming out. Like a special edition.
I watched that game on the weekend.
So it's a two-tone. You remember the old in the 80s? You had like the specials, like the band, the two-tone movement.
Yes, because it's the 40th anniversary, isn't it?
And yes, and
specials, isn't it?
And also to talk about racial unity, because actually that two-tone movement was quite good at bringing, obviously back in the 70s and 80s, you know, two communities.
Band, wasn't it?
Yeah, but obviously that was. Whereas reggae was probably listened to a bit more exclusively by the black community, ska was a bit more of a bridge between the two. So you know, quite a lot of white and black communities would mix
and that
together.
naturally then brought reggae to the white community.
Exactly. So off the back of that, as a what's the word? A commemoration of that kind of thing, they're bringing out a two-tone kit, and it looks beautiful.
It's a lovely kit. They used it against Lincoln City on Sunday live on Sky. Contrary absolutely battered Lincoln the whole game. Lincoln won 1-0.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, the most important thing from this.
Great
I know, obviously, we there has been a massive negative in the news this week about football, but there are so many positive things going on in the footballing world, and so many of the community things, non-league day in particular, is a perfect example that football is and should be and will be for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, do you think that, as it owes to non-league day, do you think like TV cameras can go down to one random non-league game? I know the viewership won't be there, but thinking about it,
I don't think it will happen, and I don't think it should happen, because I think then a lot of people will say their non-league day is spent watching the game on TV.
And that'll
so
stop people
so
spending money
BT
in the
Sport,
club,
despite it being an international break, they always show a Saturday game in the international week, but
No,
they
but I'm saying,
refuse
if
to
you
do
have
it
it-
on the October one because they don't want to take people away from the ground.
I think, but if you use it on a 12:30, like if you move
Yeah.
it into a 12:30, then you still got the chance to go out
Possibly.
to a 3
What
o'clock
they
game.
should do, or could think about moving forward, with it being a whole international weekend, is one National League game, so one of the biggest games which could take people away, move that to a Sunday, and then make it a non-league weekend. So on a Saturday you can go to a game, and then on a Sunday you've got a big TV one to
Yeah,
watch.
that's not a bad idea. But I agree, I don't think you should do it on a Saturday afternoon. Because, for example, £1.20 that Crawley made out of Dan on Saturday wouldn't be there.
You're saying 12:30, I wouldn't have been there for kick-off then.
So, yeah. It's interesting. I think it's an interesting question, though. I think it's an interesting question.
It's a debate that will have to come up in the future.
It's good. I think it would promote more for non-league, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Okay, it's time for our, let's say, reminiscence, because it's not going to be a quiz anymore. As if you don't know the reason for that, go and check out the last 8 weeks. What's it called?
Can you name them?
Still don't know why. Let's get
And
cracking.
Charlie still won't.
A lovely quiz popped up this week. We talked about England already today, and a fantastic performance after a disappointing one, which we kind of missed.
Terrible
3
against
days
Czech
before.
Republic. Terrible.
But I want to talk about a more modern story and a more high-profile one. So we're talking about the current England manager Gareth Southgate,
Yeah.
and we're talking about players that have appeared under him.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
So what I want to know,
be a long one.
and let me just count the numbers to make sure there's no joints here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to ask you to name me one of the 12 players that have made more than 20 England appearances under Gareth Southgate.
Right.
Ooh.
Okay.
So there are 12 players that have made 20 appearances or more. The highest is 32 appearances and the lowest is 21.
Okay.
I believe it's Craig's go to go
It
first.
is indeed.
We're not going to worry about the scores, but Craig, can you name them?
Let's start with Harry Kane as skipper.
He has. He's only 7th on the list, but he has made 25
Really?
appearances under Gareth Southgate.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Jordan Henderson.
Just one place above in 6th on 26 appearances, Jordan Henderson of Liverpool.
Oh, see, there's a couple of risky ones here.
Yeah, there's.
And I believe now they're official captain and vice captain, are they not?
Is Harry Maguire vice captain?
Harry Kane.
Oh, Harry Kane. Harry Kane's captain. Yeah.
And Jordan Henderson.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry. Where did Harry Maguire from?
I have no idea.
Is that your answer? Is that
Okay. Marcus Rashford probably be up there.
Marcus Rashford, surprisingly to me, number 1 on the list with 32 appearances.
Really?
He loves Rashford.
But I
And to
guess
be fair,
because
he's
when he
got-
doesn't start, he often comes off the
Yeah.
bench, and players who are getting rested, like a Kane, will then not feature at all. So
See, I've got an answer in my head, but I don't know whether he'd have played in friendlies, because that's when it's a position he would change quite often for a friendly.
okay,
Seeing as I'm probably not going to win this anyway, so it's just a reminiscence.
go for it.
Jordan Pickford.
It's your lucky days. In
Oh!
11th place, 22 appearances.
Yeah,
You were right in your, because further down the
He
list you've
started
then
every
got Jack
game.
Butland,
Yeah,
Alex
I thought
McCarthy,
it was-
Fraser Forster, all those on
Yeah.
Sunday.
So to be honest, if you hadn't played in these last 2 games, I might not have made the cut.
Well, he would have. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Raheem
Played under
Sterling.
pressure, hasn't he?
Sterling.
Much. He's 4th on the list, 27 appearances, joint 4th I should say, 27 appearances from Manchester City. I haven't got a pen, so I have no idea how this is going to end. I didn't expect it to get this far with
No,
Chelsea.
I was about to say, because he did have a good run.
Ooh.
There's a lot of alls, which means it's probably a good quiz. That's good.
Danny Rose.
Oh, that's me. I was about to say him.
Charlie has snuck in 12th place
Oh.
on 21 appearances.
Oh,
Danny
Danny
Rose of
Rose.
Tottenham
I was
Hotspur.
like, oh, that's
Obviously
good
under a
bank,
lot
isn't
of pressure because his place is now looks like it's going to Ben Chilwell, but
Yeah.
he's in there. So we've now named half of the 12 players, and we could be going on to quiz 2 at the end.
No, I don't think.
There's one player in and no one's getting.
I've got.
See, it's the 2. I'll be honest. I'll say it out loud. It's the 2 right backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had they made enough? because you've got two good right backs with the,
It's tough,
Who
isn't
would
it?
be the right back then?
I assume Kyle Walker.
well-
Yeah, I Carl Walker, mate.
Okay, well, I'm not saying the other
And
one.
then it won't be Trent.
Well, what's Craig Savage going to go for? Because I am going to have to pressure for an answer because you're just deliberately delaying here.
Dele Alli.
See, I thought him, but I wasn't
Dele
sure.
Alli is in joint 8th on 24 appearances. That's Charlie
I want to see
Betts.
the old Dele Alli back, man.
Is he going to be tempted to go for Kyle Walker? That's the question.
I think Carl Walker. Then again,
He
hasn't played much recently.
No, that's what I mean.
But it's only a couple of months, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's 4 games.
Well, we'll see. Is Charlie going to gamble or not? That's the question.
I don't matter. Yeah, Kyle Walker, I'll go for it.
Joint second.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
28.
Jesus.
Right, okay.
We're only 4 away from a clean sweep.
So I've got 2 possibles, but I'm struggling a bit.
Craig Savage.
Trippier.
See, that was my bogey. I wasn't sure.
Trippier.
Because it doesn't matter to me. If Kyle Walker's made 28, could Trippier have made the same?
I've got 2 in my
Did
head.
he play centre half for a bit?
Talk me through your thinking.
I've got 2. I've got Carl Walker. Sorry, I've got Kieran Trippier.
Yeah.
And I've got Eric Dyer.
Because obviously in the World Cup, Trippier
Yeah.
played right wing back and Walker played centre half. So
Yeah.
But it's which one of the 2 do you go for, Craig?
No, we said Carl Walker now, didn't we?
I said Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
No, because you said.
Oh,
Eric-
for my
Eric
one.
Dyer.
My 2.
Kieran Trippier.
I'll say Kieran Trippier.
Craig Savage, I'm afraid Kieran Trippier is the last player outside on 18 appearances.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, Charlie Betts has the chance to end this whitewash. Can you name one of the 4 people left?
So I'll say them out loud.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking possibly between Eric Dyer,
Okay.
Jesse Lingard, but I'm not too
yeah,
sure.
it's going to be him. It's going to be him.
He'd have made it through.
Take it.
Jamie Vardy
Okay.
might have made a few because he makes a lot of subs. After that, I don't know who the other 4th one would be.
Jamie Vardy stopped after a while.
Yeah, that's what I
After a
mean.
while.
So that's what I'm saying.
I think you got to go for the obvious one.
But I don't know if he's psyching me out with this.
No.
I don't know if this is
Charlie,
I
make your own decision.
I think go for the obvious one. Because I forgot about him. And he's main player.
But yeah, I don't. I'll say Jesse Lingard.
Yeah,
but I'm not
I
sure.
agree with you.
He is. He is in joint 7th or 8th as it was with Dele Alli
Yeah.
on 24 appearances. You both mentioned Eric Dyer at one point. Joint
Not-
2nd. 28
Really?
appearances.
Wow.
The
So
other
I'm no longer Charlie Neal. Is that
You
correct?
are no longer Charlie Neal. We can make it a quiz again.
Go
The last 2 players,
Thank
which
you.
obviously neither of you managed to get in the end, or the last 3, sorry, were
John
This will be
Stones.
interesting.
Eric Dyer, John Stones,
See, I thought him, but then I thought he's been injured for a little while.
joint
If he got
4th
to
on
20
27.
As much as that, see, I thought he was struggling to get to 20.
That goal gets on.
And
It's not Gary Cahill, is it?
No,
No.
centre half though.
Maguire.
Harry Maguire, 23 appearances.
Again, I wasn't sure because he come on a bit later on.
Interestingly, you mentioned Jamie Vardy. He was below Trippier on 15. He was the next one on the list.
It's because he retired.
Yeah.
And the only other players over 10 appearances were then Joe Hart, Fabian Delph, and Gary Cahill.
Right. Interesting.
That went on. That was a proper quiz over the whole season. But Craig,
Stick with England.
you have been defeated. It is
Yeah,
now
I know.
8-1.
We're on
8-1.
episode 98.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8-1.
Although, didn't you say at the beginning that game was worth 10? Or is that
I'll make it worth 50 on the last day to give you a chance.
Well done to you, Charlie.
But that was actually
He's
an
joined us.
enjoyable quiz to watch because it was competitive.
Yes.
So well done, Charlie. You're back in the game.
Consolation.
It always had to be for England, wasn't it? It had to get one for him. And that is it for today's Ramble. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube. And thank you for listening to us on Spotify and other platforms. And we'll see you next time.